There were several highly impressive individual performances through 2 weeks of the 2024 NFL season, between Saquon Barkley scoring 3 touchdowns in his Eagles debut, Aiden Hutchinson racking up 4.5 sacks against the Bucs this past Sunday, the Saints offense exploding in the first 2 weeks, or the Vikings looking like one of the most complete teams in the league overall so far. Having said all of that, no single play I've watched so far might have had a better showing, considering all the circumstances, than what Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith was able to put on display this past Sunday afternoon at New England. And it's barely being discussed, so I'll try to fix that today by going through the tape with you guys. Geno finished the day 33 of 44 for 327 yards and a touchdown with no interceptions or even really turnover-worthy plays, converting better than half of the 3rd and 4th downs where the ball was put in his hands, even though he ended up with less than 2.5 yards per rush on the day, and he faced several tough, obvious passing situations. He ended up with 0.25 EP per play and 55.6% dropback success rate. Those numbers are about in line with what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do since he became a starter in Kansas City, against a defense that just made Joe Burrow and the Bengals attack look anemic the week prior. Let's dive into the film now. Since I just mentioned Geno delivering in crucial situations, here he is in the second 3rd down of the day, following a fairly easy conversion on sprint route option and short yardage. Now they need 15 yards, and basically all Seattle has to work with is this Mills concept at the top out of a stack where the switch released is, with the backside X running off coverage, while the tight end and back are locked in protection. The Patriots start out in single high, but bail out this backside safety into either Tampa 2 or a very soft version of quarters. So once again, the backside fade is dead. Number 55 Josh Uche is the pole runner here on paper, having to pick up routes breaking across the field. And with Geno staring right down the barrel, he's forced to flip the hips and take the first in cut here, as you can see. Geno sets up and fires this ball to DK Metcalf into that window behind him, actually pulling him back down just a little bit, and if not for the safety to the field triggering down hard on it, they start off with a big conversion here. The next time Seattle gets the ball, the Patriots actually make their one big mistake defensively when they bust the coverage here on a 56-yard DK Metcalf touchdown. What happens is the Hawks start in empty with trips to the right. They put tight end Noah Fant in motion and snap the ball when he was just about to cross the center, so they can run this full line slide protection while they have mirrored what I'd known labeled as Ohio or short dagger concepts, with a seam or a slot fade route depending on position on the field and the deep coverage distribution and the short end underneath it. Based on pre-snap tells, with safeties walked out over the running back and the tight end, he's actually trailing the motion initially. This looks like man coverage originally, but the motion throws that off, and my guess is that not everybody registered the check to cover 3, as cornerback Christian Gonzalez in the slots here has his eyes inside and isn't worried about carrying DK deep. Safety Kyle Duggar only realizes this once it's already too late, and number 14 comes wide open. But still, Geno recognizes that immediately and puts it perfectly in stride for the speed demon to score on this. The next time they get the ball, they get another gimme, I'd say, on 3rd and 4, as they start in 2x2, motion Jackson Smith-Njigba cross into a detached bunch. And now they do get man coverage, with Marcus Jones trailing the motion here across, allowing them to pick for the second-year receiver, with Tyler Lockett getting in the way of JSN's defender on a double slant concept to pop him open the flats. Geno gets it there quickly, while his left tackle is getting bumped into him, and they get the easy conversion, with JSN getting some nice yardage after the catch. 3rd and 5 now, Seattle comes out in empty with a stack to the left. The Patriots follow one of the most basic defensive principles here, force the quarterback to make the toughest throw on the field, as they'll be running cover 2 again, but the field side corner almost lines up between the running back flanked out wide and the number 2 in this case, versus a smash hoss variation, where you've got hitches to the field by number 1 and 3, along with that slot fade route that they just saw DK score a touchdown on. Geno recognizes that corner bailing early on, and immediately zips it to his back Zach Charbonnet at the opposite sideline on the hitch, who should really pick up this 1st down, but the quarterback has to do it himself on a sneak on 4th and inches next. The snap after that conversion, then 12 personnel with both tight ends to the left, and after a little motion by DK, they're going to be running a levels concept, where you've got the 2 tight ends breaking across the field at different levels, along with the deep post by DK on the outsides as the flanker. Yet as Geno sees the deep safety line up on the opposite hash, yet already tilting the other way, he's going to stare him down and really force him to command the high post. Watch the post-snap movement and the eyes of Geno staring down before he's gonna hitch up and uncork this beautiful laser to JSN on the backside for the deep comeback, low and away from the corner, right as he comes out of his break, with limited space to step into that throw. They get a pass interference call in the end zone on the following third down, where he's laying the ball out for Tyler Lockett on a slot fade route, which sets up a 1-yard Zach Charbonnet touchdown. An unnecessary roughness call on one of Seattle's offensive linemen puts them behind the sticks, and on 3rd and 10, the Pats D does a good job of forcing the throw short of the sticks here, because they've got someone lurking to the wide side of the field here, in case Geno wants to throw the shallow crosser into space. He's got some pressure off the front side, so smartly he just flips it out there over that guy to his back in the flats, instead of forcing something up by 1 leading to a punt. But with 27 seconds left in the first half, they get another chance at midfield, and Geno sets up a field goal with this outstanding blitz replacement throw, as they motion into another 3x1 with a detached bunch to the right now, and the back flank the other way. The Patriots overload the left side with the defensive line, but also walked on a linebacker and a safety into the 2 open gaps the other way. The back is going to drop out, but Doug is coming into the late blitz through the B gap, and while Seattle has Charbonnet in protection here theoretically for the pickup, I'm guessing they're designated to throw hot to the strong side in terms of eligible receivers, where they're running a spacing or divide concept. Noah Fant spots up in this voided space against the 3-3 fire zone, meaning 3 defenders distributed underneath and deep. And Geno's gonna pin the ball against his chest. He gets 14, they add a few more with DK on a shallow crosser, and still hit a field goal before the break to put them up by 4. First offensive snap of the second half, Seahawks had 11 personnel with a stack to the left. They bring the offset receiver in jab motion for basically a 2-man concept, along with the motion man falling through into the flats, do a left run fake, behind which they're trying to hit DK on the deep in cut, along with a high 7 route the opposite way by Lockett. In rhythm, ball perfectly on the numbers as New England rotates into a single high look. Metcalf leaves his feet unnecessarily and ends up dropping it. But when they get to 3rd and 7, Geno goes back over the middle of the field with one of the gutsiest throws of the entire week. 2x2 initially, but they want to get trips into the boundary, something offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb did a ton at Washington prior to joining the staff, only they actually used tight end Noah Fant as a sniffer here in the 7-man protection, trying to hit spot routes a couple of yards beyond the sticks, but the 3 guys actually in the pattern, and they need that extra guy in protection because Gerard Mayo's defense has 7 guys up at the line of scrimmage, and call up this designer play where they rush the 5 guys furthest to the offensive right side, while Josh Uche and 285-pound breakout star Keon White drop into the hook zones, as they bail out into another look that could easily be one robber, but really it's going to end up being cover 2. And what I want you to watch here is Geno feel the heat off the front side, pedal from one hash all the way to the opposite one whilst keeping a throw-ready posture, and delivering this rifle shot just as JSN is about to clear this man in between the 2 hook droppers for a massive conversion and a total of 24 yards. A little bit later in the drive, as they motion into another empty set, JSN can't quite haul on this well-thrown ball on a slot fade route, which sets up 3rd and 15 next, but the ball kind of placed into the only spot. Not a lot of space here, but the only spots that the receiver can make a play on it. But Geno comes back to the second-year receiver when they get to the long yardage situation, motion across, now it's the number 2 from trips, running a little slant route, and it gets them in very close, only for Charbonnet to get stuffed on 4th down with less than a yard to go next. Just to show you the next 2 3rd and long situations, I think this first one could have easily been another conversion, as they're basically just clearing out space for tight end Noah Fant as an isolated single receiver on the backside running a crosser, but he badly tips off his defender with a poorly run route, who immediately drives on this, bumps him up a little bit, and now this throw seems too high when really it wasn't. And now with 10 yards to go the next time around on 3rd down, Grubb calls up basically the same play, only this time they have a wide receiver in Jake Bobo at that reduced X spot. Only New England bails out into more of a soft cover 2. Geno gets it to him, but unfortunately this guy isn't a very dynamic player after the catch, so he gets stopped short again. The Patriots drive for a touchdown, and suddenly the Hawks are down by 3, and the guys around the quarterback do their best to keep it that way here, as they have a couple of free rushers that Geno can negate to get to another first down. And he makes something out of this disjointed play, where they're running this three-man sail concept. I'd call it off-play action, only the fake isn't going where the back is headed, and Geno has to run up to the line of scrimmage, finding Noah Fant at the sideline, but it's called back for holding. Next on 1st and 20, Geno delivers a great ball to JSN on yet another slot fade route from a switch concept out of this empty set, at the top here to the field where we have a lot of space. But even though the ball is perfectly placed to the sideline, but the receiver actually has space to this time get his feet in bounds, he's gonna drop it here. The aforementioned Keion White beats the center clean across his face for a sack the next play, and they go for another design shell cross screen basically, as they get to 3rd and 27, not really having any other choice too. The Seahawks are able to block a 48-yard field goal attempt and get the ball back for the offense with just under 4 minutes left, so Geno puts on an absolute clinic of how to chip away against zone coverage without getting greedy, first with the spot route, but in number 3 yet again, and then a little check down to the back here who has a little bit of space. Geno gets flushed by a free run up the middle as they fail to pick up this cross-blitzing linebacker, but he finds DK at the sideline for a nice chunk here. Noah Fant drops his ball, supposed to lead him to the outside on the little out route, which should get them the first down and get them even closer now. But the quarterback bails him out again when he's beginning to scramble to the right, with this frontside defensive end dropping out, and he plays a little bit of a game with him here, forcing him to come up with the pump fake, only to sidearm this ball to DK again, who hurls a man at the sideline, but gets ruled just short to set up 3rd and 1, where they can't quite get enough push on a quarterback sneak, which sets up a game-time field goal that would send them to overtime. Seattle's defense is able to create a stop with the Patriots getting the ball first, and now all they need is another 3 points. Although they're starting at their own 16-yard line against a tough defense, Geno is pretty methodical yet again to get them in range for the game winner, but I want to point out 2 plays here. The first one is where they motion the back out wide into yet another empty set, which has the linebacker following, with Kyle Duggar walking down a little bit here on the tight end. So Geno knows that he probably has one man here, meaning this deep safety in the middle of the field and man underneath on everybody, for a similar concept that they ran earlier, which gives them Lockett one-on-one in the slot on the inside fade route to the right side of the field, where he has a lot of room to work with. That's something we've seen a lot in the past, but the cornerback Jonathan Jones knows that as well. So he actually sells out playing stack coverage and denying the speedy receiver to get on top of him. Geno realizes that, and watch where that ball is placed, perfectly to the back shoulder, triggering the DB to grab him and grant him another first down through pass interference here. And finally, I have to assume that this is kind of made up on the fly, rather than anything like a design concept, but the reaction by Geno and Lockett is so immediate and perfect that they must have come up with that in practice, because they're bringing Smith-Njigba across for a condensed 2x2 set. Geno bumps the back over for a designed rollout to the right, where they're trying to hit JSN on the speed out that converts into a sit-down route, and you've got DK running off coverage, with probably the option as well to sit this down over the middle. But New England sells out for this. Watch Jabril Peppers driving down like a maniac here. Meanwhile, as we let this run a little bit, at this point is where Lockett realizes, working from the backside on a little crossing route, they're all over it. So the veteran wideouts reverses field, Geno does so as well, and he puts it right there for his guy to basically secure the victory on the ensuing kick. Whether it's made up or a design play, just kind of sick to secure the win that way, because that's an insanely high level of confidence in your guys and quarterback play overall, as we think about the day that Geno had. As I mentioned during the intro, there have been some individual showcases and especially stat lines that would rival Geno's performance against the Pats, and he didn't nearly look as sharp the week prior hosting the Broncos when the offense took a couple of safeties early on before he started to kick into gear over the second half of that game. However, this masterclass of how to manage a game against a defense that generally has looked even better than what I expected and should continue to be a standout unit if they don't face a quarterback solving problems at such a high level, gives me a lot of confidence that Geno's gotten rid of the rust that he didn't get to shake off during the preseason, and we've seen him be one of the hardest, most aggressive passers in the league when he's dialed in. Combined with Mike McDonald coach defense that looked dominant against the rookie quarterback in week 1, and should continue to improve as the individual pieces really immerse themselves into this new system, along with hopefully better balance. When you have a healthy Kenneth Walker available at running back, this could truly be one of the most dangerous squads, which I thought was being overlooked during the offseason, but now surprisingly has as many wins as the rest of the NFC West combined.